All of our stories talk about how wonderful and great God is. So we're going to sing our God is so big. So he's big, he's strong, and he's mighty. Okay?
Our God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the valleys are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you.
So we talked about Jacob last week marrying Rachel and Leah, and Leah started having children, and Rachel was jealous, so then she gave her servant to. The law back then was if your servant had a baby, it counted as yours. So she gave her servant girl to Jacob, and that servant had a couple of children, and then Leah wasn't having any more children, so then she gave her servant. So now Jacob actually has 4 wives and some children, and finally Rachel finally has a son, and then later on, and that's Joseph, and then later on after they travel back, she has Benjamin. But so there's a lot of controversy. The same time, Laban's animals are doing well, Jacob's animals, so they try to split them up, and they split them up, and if they say the spotted ones become Jacob's, and the clear plain ones are Laban's, and then so all the babies are spotted, and then they switch it, and then they're all plain, because God is blessing Jacob over and over again, and so there's some controversy there, and he's been there a long time because it took 14 years to earn his children. So now he's been there 20 years or more, and he finally decides, or God decides, or he needs to go home. And at first Laban chases him because he doesn't want his daughters and then his grandchildren to leave, but then they make up and they bless each other, and then he goes. So now Jacob is on his way home. He's got his 4 wives, he's got all his children, except for Benjamin hasn't been born yet, so he's got 11 sons and there's a daughter, and they're on their way, and as he's going home, he starts thinking about Esau. Now when he left, Esau had threatened to kill him, so he's kind of conflicted here. He's excited about going home, he's worried about what Esau's going to do, and he's got all these children, he's got all these flocks, he's a very rich man now, and so now we're in Genesis chapter 32. He hears that Esau knows he's coming and that he's bringing a bunch of people with him. So he takes a bunch. This is what you are to say to my master Esau. He says this to his servants. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, manservants and maidservants. Now I'm sending this message to my Lord that I may find favor in your eyes. Now he's talking to Esau. When the messenger returned, and he said that Esau is coming to meet you with 400 men. Can you imagine? So in great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people to whom with him into 2 groups, flocks and the herds and everything. He divided everything in 2 except for his family, and then he spent the night worrying about this, and he had it all prepared. And then this is cool, because if you think about the fact that we always talk about the Israelites. Well, who were the Israelites? We haven't had anybody named Israel yet. This is where we get somebody named Israel, because Jacob spends the night wrestling with someone, and they wrestle all night. And he finds out in the morning that he was wrestling with God, and God actually put his hip out of joint, and God changes his name to Israel. Where is that now? Oh, I can't find out. So Jacob holds on to this guy and says, I will not let you go until you bless me. The man says, what is your name? Jacob. Then the man says, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men and have overcome. And Jacob said, please tell me your name. But he replied, why do you ask me my name? Then he blessed him there. So he blessed him, so his name was changed to Israel. So when you hear about the Israelites, they're the children of Israel, and Israel is actually Jacob. So you learn something new. So now it's time to meet Esau, and we're in chapter 33. He divides he's already divided all his flock into two, and he sent some one way, and said now he's got his family divided. First he's got the one maidservant and her children, and then he's got the next maidservant and her children, and he's got Leah and her children, and last is Rachel and her child, and they're all behind him, and he's in front, and he goes out to meet his brother. But Esau, he himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him, gave him a big hug, and threw his arms around him, and they wept. Then Esau looked up and saw the women and said, "Who is with you?" And he said, "These are my children." And so they all got to meet, and it was just a great thing. Esau had forgiven his brother, and they ended up being friends, brothers again. So that's really cool. So again, God worked through a situation that should have been impossible, and he healed the family. He brought them back together. If he can do that there, he can do it anywhere. So Jacob and Esau. Jacob went from fear, and then he was struggling, and he was wrestling, and he was scared, to great happiness and joy because his brother loved him and accepted him back. So if God can work through them, he can certainly work through our families too. So that's the story for today.
B-I-B-L-E, yes, that's the book for me. I stand up tall on the Word of God, the B-I-B-L-E.
One more time.
The B-I-B-L-E, yes, that's the book for me. I stand up tall on the Word of God, the B-I-B-L-E. Bible.
Today, for our craft, we are going to make emojis out of paper plates, because we learned about how Jacob and Esau had some mixed feelings and different emotions about seeing each other again. They were angry at first, but God worked through it, and then they got happy. So you can use bigger paper plates. I only had these small ones, but we can make some different emojis. So maybe you can start by making a scared face. Here's my scared face emoji. That one's running out. Maybe a sad face emoji, because he was a little sad that his brother, the last time Jacob talked to his brother, he was angry at him. But then, when he and his brother made up, he was happy. And he felt loved. So try to make emoji masks at home.
Okay, we're gonna sing "I Just Want to Be a Sheep." Get your ears out there. It's your favorite song.
I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. And I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba.
I don't want to be a Pharisee, a Pharisee. I don't want to be a Pharisee, a Pharisee. 'Cause they're not fair, you see. I just want to be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just want to be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just want to be a sheep, ba 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 ba. And I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I just want to be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I don't want to be a Sadducee,
A Sadducee.
I don't want to be a Sadducee.
A Sadducee.
'Cause they're so sad, you see. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. And I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. Stand up. I don't wanna be a hypocrite.
Hypocrite?
I don't wanna be a hypocrite.
Hypocrite?
Cause they're not hip with it. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. And pray the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep, ba 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 ba. Alright.